Yesterday, I was kind of skimming through the autobiography "Born to Rebel" by Benjamin E. Mays, the president of Morehouse College, mentor to Martin Luther King Jr. And I was skimming through it, and I was struck when he said, growing up in the South as a young boy, he walked around with a perpetual fear of being lynched. It wasn't long ago, I was walking across my school campus, and I thought, and I saw this, it was like campus police, and they were driving by in their police car. And I'm walking by, and I'm thinking, I am not intimidated by the person in that vehicle at all. I have never seen a police officer and thought, my life is in danger. Yet you have a story where you're sitting in your driveway, and because of what's happened, not over the past few years, but just historically, right, in America, and you were scared for your life. Do you want to share about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I can probably tell you about 50 stories. It's so funny. Yesterday, we were driving, and we got to, I actually got to do a concert at a black church in Chicago yesterday. Yesterday. And it's not often that I get invited to black churches to do ministry. And I cherish those times because it's a different set of things that they're thinking about, bro. What they're trying to accomplish for the people in their congregation is often completely disconnected to what's happening in the cultural war. Right. And so I was getting, my driver was a 75-year-old brother and black man in the North. And I started to talk to him about what's your experience been like. One of the first things out of his mouth was, for y'all who think that the South is where racism is,
you got another thing coming.
He told us that
you
King,
ever heard of Boston?
He said he was there. He basically, when King came up to speak in Chicago, it said that the worst racism he's ever seen. He said he was never more afraid from his life when he was in the North. He said that he felt less fear in Mississippi. Wow. That's what the driver told me yesterday. And it's funny, and as I was talking, Mo, my drummer, hopped in and said, yeah, man. He said, man, I've been beat up by the police twice. I was like, why haven't we talked about this?
Right, why have you?
Yeah, like, why? He said, yeah, I did a show with Propaganda, and I was driving to the airport. I got pulled over, and he slammed me on the ground. He took out a baton and went to hit me with it, but another police officer showed up and stopped him. And when and said, hey, I'm sorry that this guy did this to you. He shouldn't have done that. Hey, you're free to go. The other police officer walked up to him and said, hey, I was just about to kill you. That's what the dude said to him before he left. That was one of two. Tripoli, one of my favorite people in the world, slammed on it at his concert.
At his concert.
It's not funny. Sometimes you just got to laugh.
No, you have to laugh to keep from crying. I'm at my concert.
I'm at my show.
Gospel Center
to
concert.
Talk about Jesus. And I'm here. We had a project called Man Up that was trying to teach people to submit to authority. I'm trying to make your job easier, brother. Yeah. I actually had that conversation with a police officer one time.
Wow.
He spazzed on me in an airport, man. I asked a question and he just went crazy on me. And at that point, it was like caution to the wind.
Yeah.
I said, do you know that I am out here you make my job harder. How am I to disciple young black men and women to see that there's actually a future, that there's a symbiotic future for us between the police officers? How do we even get to that? When here I am posing no threat to you, but you feel so threatened by me. And I remember when he saw he said, do you have any I'm in the airport, bro. I had a lighter with me that went through security. It was a lighter. Because I had this little contraption I was using on stage that made fire or whatever. But anyways, and I got to identify my record and do I have I don't have a record, but do I have a record? Do I have any tattoos? Basically, if I have any gang affiliation, I'm saying, why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me, bro? I'm just trying to live. I'm just trying to live, bro. Why are you doing this to me, man? And then when he saw that my tattoo was Romans 1:16, and he saw that I was a believer, he saw me as a Christian, and this whole demeanor changed towards me.
Now he's human.
Now let me say
now
this.
you're not a threat.
I have met some wonderful police officers. Tampa PD is among one of the stalwart police departments in the state. Just good people. The police chief led a lot of the protests. I think
he was at one of the ones. Was he at one that we were
him
at?
and the mayor were at protests this summer.
Yeah.
So there is this tension between supporting police officers, seeing them as essential to the sort of order of the society, but then also saying that there's serious reform that needs to be made. Being honest about both, even being honest about the numbers. Police brutality is not simply a black problem, even though it often expresses itself there in a majority way. There are tons of stories of individuals who are not black sharing in the problem that is modern day policing, because there does need to be reform. There does need to be better training. There does need to be more support. We talked about how police officers are oftentimes working a career where there's the highest suicide, highest divorce, highest drug abuse, and we're not supporting them in those things. There actually does need to be improvements for their own sanity and safety and outside of their policing the communities. All of that needs to be talked about when we engage these things, but it gets punted to the side when y'all are sounding like those people that basically want to, they talked about the whole frying, the whole pigs in the blanket thing and defund the police and all these things that not all of us are on the same page about, but we are on the same page about this. There needs to be change. Can you join me in that alone? But anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent. But the point that I wanted to make is that there is indeed these experiences that we have. I've had my own. I won't go into the details, but I was in my own driveway on a conversation, had FaceTime with Joseph Solomon, and was accused of suspected of committing a crime, sitting in my driveway. And I'm sitting back and I'm watching you ride past all my other neighbors who look like they should be here. And that's been my experience. I find myself oftentimes, whether it's at the airport, at a hotel, at a skybox, at a baseball game or a football game, where it's like, you should not be here. That there's this kind of, you're out of place. And here's the thing, a lot of us feel like we're out of place.
Oh, man.
We do.
Talk about it.
So what?
Yeah, stuff that people don't even understand.
Yes.
Like, you don't even understand me walking through Passion 6-7 years ago, seeing another black dude, and we like,
yo, hey.
There's like I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I don't think some of my white brothers and sisters in Christ understand. There's literally like a secret communication, like code, like, yo, we in here, I see you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because we know that we are minorities here, and we feel it.
I mean, I think about what he said about the president of Morehouse. I do feel like by God's grace, I am improving in this, to be honest. And I know you probably have some questions for us, so you can cue those things up. But let me just say this last thing. I've spent years of my life, bro, changing the way I talk so that I could sound more adjacent to whiteness. I was called a coconut, black on the outside, white on the inside. I was called an Oreo, white on the inside, black on the outside, because of the way I talked and because I was given to academics and stuff like that. These are things that are seen as white, right? And then we begin to hurt each other, internalize that there's something better or at least threatening about the things that we give to white culture, bro. And I even think about how the way our sisters, for example, Corey Porter, who will be on Southside Rabbi in the future, this brilliant sister who's doing all kind of advocacy work in Africa. But she told this story about when she realized that she could not wipe her blackness off. She asked her light-skinned friend, hey, how did you get light-skinned? Because if I could get light-skinned, then I can then the guys will like me.
Yeah. You think 6-year-olds are reading critical race theory? This is where they're getting it from.
Yes, exactly.
Come on,
so
man.
what I'm saying is that we have a problem. We have a problem. Last thing I'm going to say, I know I keep saying that. This is the last thing I'm about to pass. A study came out last August, bro. Babies, the most neutral place you can be is babies. You can't say that they have internalized racism. You can't say that they have done something in any way to project themselves as victims. But they did a study on basically the survival rate of black and white babies. In that study, they showed that black babies are 3 times more likely to die in infancy from a lack of care from their doctors if their doctor's white.
Wow.
But if you take a white baby with a black doctor, they have the exact same chance of survival, which is stays flat, if they have a black doctor or a white doctor.
And they adjust it for all kind of variables.
They adjust it for the variables. Because you can tell, well, what about this? What about that? They looked at all of this. Now, that does not prove without a shadow of a doubt that there's nothing but racism happening there. I'm sure that they're going to do more study and find some factors, but you certainly have to say that something's going on there and it seems to be racial, okay?
Right.
And listen, I know that the thing that is lodged against a lot of people that talk about these things is that what you all believe is that all outcome, I just heard it yesterday, any kind of disparity in outcome automatically means racism. I don't know anybody that believes that. I don't know anybody in our circle, Christian or not, anybody that is in our circle that's Christian or outside of our circle that thinks that if there's a disparity between black people and white people, it's got to be
and
racism.
you can even find critical race theorists who have said that.
For sure.
That it's not always race. There's other factors
There's
that could be
things
involved.
that are far more complicated.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's crazy.
And it's obviously not talking about the fact that you're I may be 6'2" and better at basketball than you are. Because I'm better at basketball, there's a disparity there. It must be race. No, this is the thing. Most of the things that y'all think is crazy, most reasonable people think is crazy as well. But what we're talking about is that there's something that the outcomes can teach you. And no one's asking for equality of outcomes. We'll never achieve that. But we want people to have the same chances at survival, the same opportunity, that the black baby and the white baby both share the exact same chances of living in this world. And if that's not there, we should at the very least say that there is a disparity that should not be there. It should not be there. It should not be that black people are 3 times more likely to die from COVID. It should not be that I can go down to Bayfront Hospital in the South Side of St. Petersburg and be able to basically track the trajectory of that baby given their social standings, because I know what preschool they'll be in and what kindergarten they'll be in, and then this is the outcome. That should not be the case. Compassion Love says that in some way, some fashion, we want people to be eating deeply in the American dream, which is giving everyone the chance to pursue life, liberty, and justice. So anyways.